Good morning, YouTube. Well, it's late afternoon, early evening. Welcome to Blackberry Ridge. Today we're going to be showing you how we set up our hydroponic system. And the way we do it is so simple. Hello, kitty kitty. The way we do it is so simple. We learned this actually from Bobby, who is MHP Gardener. And we have taken his ideas and we have gone from there. We set up our system with any container that will hold water, and today we're going to be using kitty litter buckets. And then later on what we're going to be doing is setting up the piping for the drain. But for right now, since I don't have the drain set up, I've got it dripping down. When it drips, draining into glass cake pans. Hello, Tick. Of course, you got to get in the video, don't you? Yes, you do. We have taken some of our suckers off of our plants, and we have got those started in this system. Some of our cans have been painted, some of them haven't. So to show you inside here. Alright, so let's get started. Ambria is going to be our camera person today. So she's gonna show you how we do this, and then I will go from there. Okay, now we're at my workstation here, and I'm going to show you some of the supplies you're going to be needing. One of the supplies that is necessary is 1/2-inch PVC pipe. So we're going to be cutting into 2-inch sections. Some way of measuring, so I'm just going to be using a yardstick today. You'll be needing a hole saw. You'll be needing a 1-inch and a 2-inch hole saw. I get my holes started with another drill bit that's a little bit smaller. I find that makes it easier for me to push through the plastic into the bin. You're going to be needing these grommets. These are 3/4-inch grommets, and I got these from Granger. You'll be needing 2 1/2-inch 90-degree elbows. I'm going to be using this PVC pipe cutter for cutting the pipe. I will be needing some type of a blade, either your knife or some kind of a blade that we're going to be cutting the shavings away from after we cut the hole. A Sharpie, and some kind of sandpaper here, either sandpaper block or some kind of a sandpaper. Okay, let's get started. The first thing that I'm going to do, can you get it okay, Ambria? Mm-hmm. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2-inch marks on the PVC with the Sharpie. It doesn't have to be exact, just approximately 2-inch marks. Then I'm going to take my pipe cutter and the way you open this is you just pull it. And I'm going to put it on the mark. And then we're going to start ratcheting this down onto the mark. Now when we first started doing these, we actually used a hacksaw, and not one of them were straight. Every one of them that we cut was cockeyed, which was okay because it was just going into these pipe systems. Okay, so there's our 2 pieces of pipe that we're going to be needing. 2 inches, 1/2-inch pipe, 1/2-inch elbows. And then the next thing that I need to do is we're going to be using kitty litter buckets. And I'm going to take my kitty litter bucket, and from what I've already done in the past, I have found that what works best for our system is that I measured 2.5 inches up. So when you're doing your bucket, it does need to have a hole that's 2.5 inches up. And then this bucket was approximately 8 inches wide. So I made a mark with the Sharpie at 2.5 inches up. And then I came over and I made a mark that was at 4 inches, and I put my little starter hole in there. Can you see that okay, Ambi?
Yeah.
The starter hole. Then the next thing that I did was that I put my drill on reverse. I got my 1-inch hole saw in there. Okay. Then I take, so we got our hole in there. That's a 1-inch hole, but it's still got kind of fine little shavings in there. So I take this blade and I kind of cut that out. And then I'm going to go on the inside also. These buckets aren't clean, but I'm going to go on the inside where this is rough, and I'm going to cut that out. This is just so that the grommet can get set in there real nice and smooth. Let's not have any leaks. Pretty good there, don't you think?
Yep.
Okay. Then I'm going to take my 3/4 inch rubber grommet and I'm going to push that into the hole, making sure that, see, there's a crack there, making sure that the crack goes in the crack here in the thickness of the bucket. Okay, so that's seated in there really good, both inside and out. The next thing that, and I've already cut my lid in half. I just took my blade and just cut along the lid to divide it in half, and you'll see why in just a second. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my pieces of 2-inch long 1/2 inch PVC pipe, and we need to get it to where it's got like a smooth edge here and it's kind of tipped in a little bit. So, and I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to rough this up. You use any sandpaper that you want, like say a sanding block, anything like that. This is what I have though, and I'm one of these ones where you use what you have to do what you got to do. Okay. And can you see that the edge there is kind of mitered a little bit, pushed in?
Yep.
Okay. So this is the hardest part of this whole process. The next thing that we learned that we needed to do was that we needed to have some kind of a lubricant on it. And we have actually even used vegetable oil. I'm just going to put a couple drops of lubricant on here, put it on the grommet. And the stuff that I used, because this is what I had, you see it's an old rusty can, it's a liquid wrench, super lubricant. And I need to push this through the hole, and I got my hand inside here, trying not to push this grommet through. And like I said, this is the hardest part of the whole process. And I'm going to push it through to about halfway. So I've got a little over 1 inch hanging out here. About halfway. Then what I'm going to do is on the inside and on the outside, I'm going to put one of these 90-degree elbows so that they're sticking down. You see it okay, sweetie?
Now I know why you're using the second one. I was like,
Yeah, so it's sticking down. Okay. So what's going to happen is that when we pour our solution in the top here, our grow solution, it's going to trickle through our medium, which is going to be perlite, and it's going to be able to go this 2.5 inches tall in this bucket, or about 2 inches tall in this bucket, and there'll always be 2 inches of solution in there for the plant to be able to draw off of. And then the excess is going to come out of this hole and it's going to drip down. And here's where our second little piece of 2-inch, 1/2 inch wide PVC pipe goes in. So that's what the whole system looks like. The next thing that I'm going to do, and like I said, I've already taken the lid and I slice the lid this way. And then in about the middle of this, it doesn't have to be exact, I need to cut a 2-inch hole. You can pause for just a second while I change the.
okay.
Alright, what I've changed over to now is I've put a regular bit on my drill, and somewhere in the center of this I'm just going to start a starter hole. And where the center is in here, it doesn't have to be perfect. And what we're going to be putting in these buckets is tomato suckers. Okay. So I've just got a little hole started in there just to make it easier for this part of my hole saw to catch in there.
Okay, we'll be right back. Okay.
What I have done is that I have switched over now, and this is my 2-inch hole saw. Get it centered up in my starter hole.
We're okay. It just went crazy.
Okay, let me tell you what just happened. Whenever you're doing this, you need to run the drill in reverse. And so what has happened was that it actually accidentally, on my drill here, I accidentally hit the button that turned it from reverse to regular. So the drill has to be on reverse, and so that's what happens if you try drilling this in reverse with the regular speed. It doesn't matter that this is ripped out some there. I mean, that's perfectly okay because we're going to cut